Hi, welcome to Tarot Live. This is the first of the shows that we're going to be doing on a at the minute weekly basis. Just looking at the tarot, different tarot readings, different tarot techniques, and how they can be applied. You know, how that relates to what's going on in the world at the moment, and also looking at any questions and insights that people have got in touch with us either via social media or Twitter to say that they would like to be made aware, to have looked at for them. So as you can see, everything's a little bit plain at the moment. We're in a very plain room on a very basic camera, so hopefully as the weeks go on we'll be back into some sort of reasonable studio setup, and everything will continue to increase and get better from there. So going right back to basics this week. A lot of people don't actually know much about the tarot and know what the tarot are. The tarot is a method of divination. People think, you hear it bandied about a lot, that tarot have been used for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it's quite simply not the case. The tarot are a few hundred years old at the most. They were actually put in place originally as a game. They did start life as a card game rather than the way that they're commonly used today, which is in divination. There are many, many different types of tarot decks. The one that I'm going to show you a lot of within this sort of context and on the shows originally, we are going to have a look at some more different tarot cards as the weeks go on, but a lot of the one I'm going to show you is the Rider-Waite deck, which is the one that gets used over and over again. When I'm teaching tarot, it's the one that I tell people to buy as their first decks, unless they have a particular connection with a different deck. The Rider-Waite tends to be one that is relied on a lot. So there is that. What I'm doing now, if you can see me clicking away in the background, is I'm just checking our social media feeds. Obviously the show runs for an hour. If you would like to get in touch with us, ask any questions, have a mini reading done, you can of course get in touch with us via Twitter. You can get in touch with me via @LilyOak on Twitter, @LilyOak on Twitter. You can also find the Hedge Witchery Tarot page on Facebook and send us messages and pop posts on there right the way through the show, and even when the show's not airing, and we can pick them back up ready for the show next week. So I'm just going to see what we have going on. Okay, one of the questions I did put out today, is many people who are watching this who have interest in pre-Christian religion, history of the UK, modern paganism, is that yesterday was Imbolc, which is the sort of first of the big 8 festivals in the calendar going through the year, if you take it from sort of the modern day calendars. Now, a lot of people, I get contacted, and what a lot of readers do is they, on their blogs and things, they'll do a card of the week. They will pull cards for specific star signs. And I get asked a lot, is it actually possible to have one card govern so many people, or govern a whole group, or, everyone for a time period? And I suppose it is, really, when you think about it. We talk about different forces, different influences on the world as a whole, on groups as a whole. So if you take them, it depends on what context you're looking at the cards, really. Now, people will use the cards for other things rather than just divination. And one of the things people do is meditate on the cards, or assign the cards to different festivals, different times of their life, give them different meanings that way. And one of the conversations that I started today on a social media group was, do we think that there are any cards particularly associated with Imbolc or Imbolc and that time of the year. So this was something for me to think about as well, really. So we've had sort of a few answers come through. But first, I'm going to there's 3 cards I picked out, which for me kind of resonate quite highly with this time of the year. The first one, and these are all major arcana cards, by the way. Tarot decks, if you're unaware, this are split into 2: the major arcana and the minor arcana. Major arcana tend to be the great big signposts that sort of signify very significant events or waypoints in my life. The minor arcana are the things that give with a finer detail, show how things are progressing, and work that way. So cards I picked out here are all from the major arcana. So the first one is the World. This card, many people sort of view it as an ending. It is the last card in the major arcana. But the World isn't just an ending, it's about finishing a period of time and actually being ready to step forward into something new. It's that point where you've looked at everything that's gone before and you've actually come to peace with it, and you're ready to move forward to something new. For me, that's very much what Imbolc is about. Imbolc is a festival of new beginnings, of potential, of rebirth, if you like, which kind of leads me into my next choice, which is the Tower. Now, I think the Tower gets bad rep, because a lot of people say about the Tower, it's disaster and, you know, things going wrong. It doesn't really. It can mean that, but usually what it means is being able to pull something from the ashes. It's a bit like the Phoenix of the tarot deck, if you like. It's the card that says, you know, even when things go horribly, horribly wrong, you see it as an opportunity to pull something back. And when we're at this time of the year where we're going from winter, from when the earth's asleep, from when it's barren, from when there is nothing there, to actually realising that it's not that there isn't anything there, there's a ton of potential stored within it. For me, that resonates quite powerfully with the Tower card. The other card, my last card, that I've picked is the Wheel. The Wheel of Fortune, for me, just epitomises change and development and growth, and things moving and things never staying the same. And at this time of the year, every morning you get up and you look out the window and it's slightly different, you know. We were out this morning, we had friends stay with us last night, and we were celebrating Imbolc at home. You know, we went out into the garden this morning and crocuses everywhere, and the world looks different day by day. So that's quite a powerful card as well. When I'm actually looking at the social media here, when I went to sort of gather other people's responses on this, Lola got in touch with me. As I said, there are lots of different tarot decks, and some tarot decks are completely based on the Wheel of the Year and the changing cycles. So, as she pointed out, in a tarot deck such as the Wildwood Tarot, that has a card specifically assigned to Imbolc, and that one is actually the Wheel of the Year, and that one is actually the Ancestor. The interesting thing for this is the Ancestor is actually number 5, which is traditionally the High Priest card, which isn't a card I would normally associate with Imbolc. But decks, that can happen with different. If you've got 3 different decks, you will read them all completely differently as a reader, and they will all give you slightly different messages and slightly different signs, so that's not unusual. Rachel came on and said, actually for the festival itself, the Star. Star's a lovely card. It's kind of the good luck card, if you like. That's how I view it, of the tarot deck. But certainly the Star, the light, the guiding, very much tied into Imbolc being seen as a festival of light and a festival of candles, which is actually something that's been pulled sort of from the Christianized celebration of St. Bridget's Day, or Candlemas, which is also celebrated on the same day as Imbolc. And also, going back to St. Bridget, Rachel was saying she sees Bridget in the form of the Magician. The Magician, I can see being associated with Imbolc quite strongly, because there's lots of connotations there of confidence, moving forward, taking your first steps into the world. like we were saying, with the changing natural world around us, that makes a lot of sense. So that's really cool. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can view different cards and ascribe them to different points in the year. And those are just some of them. Now, what we're going to do on the show in the future, because I feel like we're kind of just introducing things to the show, is we will, as well as sort of taking things from social media, like say you can request to come and view, you know, and have a small reading done on the show. You can send us messages throughout the show, you can send us messages as part of the show, and get those answered for you. If you are watching this, obviously the stream goes out across a number of platforms, but if you are watching this actually on our website, which is www.hedge-witchery tarot, all one word, .com, you will see below me there is my details if you want to come and actually get a personal reading from me. I'm online most days through the day, but there's also a bank of other psychics as well, some tarot readers, some psychics. These are all people who work through the Fabulous Psychic Network. I've worked as a professional tarot reader for a while now, and I've worked for a lot of different sites, and there is a reason I choose that network to bring psychics to you, basically because of the way it's ran, because of the standards they expect from their psychics and their tarot readers, and so I am very confident that, you know, if you go to any of those people for a reading, you will get a good quality reading. And yeah, you can go down, you can click on them, you can view their details and get a reading for them at any time. The other thing that you can do is you can send messages as well. So if you've got any questions about how a reading is done, how they work, because all sort of readers and psychics work slightly differently, then you can contact them directly, which is always a good thing to do. It's quite hard. We were having a discussion on this actually, among a group of professional readers, about what we think makes people choose different psychics to come for a reading. And we were really surprised by some of the things that came up. A lot of people were saying, no, it's the profile picture. It's really strange. Some people were saying it's the name. You know, I was quite surprised by that because I look quite different on some of my profile pictures. A lot of them are before I did the big charity head shave, so I have decidedly more hair on a lot of my pictures. But one of the ones that kept coming up was feedback and experience. What I would say is, you know, whenever you're choosing someone to give you a reading, you're putting that person in a position of trust. So it's always a good idea to read back about what other customers have said about them. You can come away from the site, you can run their name through Google, you can find out all about them, and about their experience. And it is something that should be considered. I would always advise people, don't just pick your psychic based on them having a nice profile picture, base it on what experience they have, what reputation they have. If you can get a personal recommendation from a friend who's used them before. You do sometimes find that you just don't gel, that you just don't quite connect with other readers, and that does happen very occasionally. I'll try and read for someone and it just doesn't work, and so I don't do the reading. But most professional psychics, you know, allow for that, and they will be very honest with you and say if they don't find a connection there. So it is something to look out for. But if you do want to get a reading from any sort of trusted psychic, you can find them on www.hedge-witcherytarot.com. If you're watching this on catch up rather than live, then I will place a link here. so you can find it quite easily. So yeah, that's what we do. And what we are going to do in the future is have live phone-ins as well. When I finish getting the rest of the studio set up and sorted, we will have some sort of a live phone-in line arranged. So you can call straight through the show, you can chat, ask questions, have a reading live on air, and talk about anything else you would like to related to tarot. What we can also do at that point is we will get some visitors into the studio to come and do shows with us. For those of you who haven't been on Hedge Witchery Tarot, there is the bigger site, which is Hedge Witchery, which is our community and learning resource site. We run a professional tarot reading course, so if you've ever been interested in learning tarot or learning how to read tarot professionally, there is a course there just for beginners. If you're just learning and you've never done it before, you can do that course. If you want to then build on that knowledge and become a professional reader, if it's something that you think you have an affinity for, or that you can connect with, if it's a kind of career you would like to go into, if you've been interested in tarot for a long time, then there is also that option there as well. So you can go ahead. It's not a short course. It does take usually a minimum of a year to complete, so it's by no means a short undertaking, but people all sort of go through it at their own pace. But we have got some of the guys who are starting to get into their professional portfolios now, so what we may do is we might get some of the students of the course in the studio or on the phone to do some readings, and then you can see all the different sort of styles of the different readers that are in front of you, which is always an interesting thing to do. When I've done sort of TV work before, quite often they will have, on the proper TV, not just on my little internet TV, what you quite often have on there is they'll have a lot of different readers side by side. And it's also interesting that you will get someone come through with one particular question, but within that question, like when we go to answer it, all the readers will pull different cards, but they'll always get the same message from them, and it's purely because every reader reads slightly differently. Every different deck of cards is slightly different, so people then look at those differently. So yeah, you can get the same message out of completely different cards from completely different readers, which is what you often find happens, to be honest. It's interesting tarot. I've worked with it for a long time now, and I've run a lot of different workshops, and everyone does it completely differently, and it's normally best when you leave it open to people's instincts. I had a class once where, without even asking, and one of the students started, rather than cutting the deck and dealing the cards, did it a very old traditional way, which is to spread the cards and pick them out. And I didn't say anything, I just let it go. And then it got to sort of half, she'd been doing this for a couple of hours, practicing and giving readings. And she looked and she went, am I supposed to be reading them like this? Am I not? And I was like, well, yes, obviously you are, otherwise you wouldn't have done it by instinct. It's a very traditional way of doing that, to be honest. It's very theatrical. You see it a lot when you look back at Victorian programs and things. And it's quite theatrical. You get this a lot with the Victorian sort of take, if you like, on the paranormal and on divination and on anything like that. It was always a very big show. It was associated a lot with parlour tricks, and in some ways that was both a blessing and a curse, because you got this big new resurgence and this big new interest in it, but at the same time it got known as being a parlour trick, so it lost a little bit of its credibility and a little bit of its reliability, is that the word? A little bit of its reputation as just being a sort of smoke and mirrors. So there was that there as well. But yeah, people will just instinctively start working with the tarot, and that's often the best way to learn. I was completely self-taught. Books in the days before the internet, where you had to go to the library and look stuff up or buy books. That's how I taught myself how to read. I actually taught myself how to read playing cards before I taught myself tarot. In your standard deck of modern playing cards, it's basically the minor arcana with a few omissions. So it wasn't sort of long before I progressed from playing cards onto tarot cards. Yeah, and it's, like I say, I did it via books and articles and that way, and you kind of have to do it a bit instinctively, because you couldn't just go on Google and look up how to do stuff. If the instructions weren't there, you kind of just went, well, what do I think feels right? And I like to encourage that in people when they're learning the tarot or working with the tarot, because I think there's a lot of that is lost now in modern day learning, if you like, because you can find out anything now, you know, any information you want, any modern information on any practice is literally a couple of clicks away on Google. So it's quite difficult to get people to trust their instincts, which of course is a huge part of learning any sort of divination practice. So you have to sort of keep trying to push people into that slightly. It's why I include meditations in pretty much all of my courses, actually, because it stops people's brain from second guessing themselves a little bit, as much as you can. It's really hard to get people's brains to just be quiet nowadays. You know, you'll be running through meditation classes with people, and all of a sudden, you know, you'll just get them to calm down and chill out, and suddenly they'll be ball upright going, I remember where I lost my keys, and it's like, oh. And it's basically because the brain's starting to shut out all of the background noise and background chatter. It happens, but it is, I think we're starting to turn a corner, and people are becoming more conscious of their own thought patterns, actually, and how they think about things, you know, which is always good. But enough about prattling about. Enough about prattling about random practices. Let's have a look at some cards. What I am going to do is we are going to have a look and do these via star sign, basically. Remember, if you would like a little mini reading done for yourself, then get in touch with us via Facebook or Twitter. Facebook, if you go on and search Hedge Witchery Tarot, you will find our Facebook page. You can put a comment on there on one of the links to the show, our announcements about the show tonight, or you can find me on Twitter and at Lily Oak. You can find me on there, and send me a message via Twitter, and I will get back to you that way as well. What we're going to do is we're going to do a very quick sort of zodiac tarot cast, and we're going to go through each of the signs and give a little reading for those signs. Now, obviously, there are only 12 signs, and there are millions of people in the world, so this isn't going to be, you know, you will meet a tall, dark stranger on Thursday. That's not what we're looking at here at all. What we're looking at here is getting a little bit of guidance about the general sort of influences, for want of a better word, influences and themes, energies that are surrounding you. Just, you know, a little bit of a guidance on maybe the way you should be approaching things in your life, rather than what exactly is going to happen in specific detail. Obviously, you can get that sort of information from a personal reading if you want to do that. That is entirely up to you if you want to get one, or if you want to send us a message and have a mini one next week. That happens occasionally as well. It's called jumping the deck. Cards will occasionally just go boop out of the deck. And when they come out, they have to stay out. Now, given that that wasn't for anyone in particular, I'm going to take it that that card was for me. I'm just going to leave it over there. It's quite a good card, so that's quite good. We'll just hope that that was for me. Yeah, Four of Cups. It's a lovely card. It means emotional stability and happiness. Something everyone can use. Okay, let's do this cast. Okay, I'm going to cut the deck for each different star sign and go through from there. Okay. We're going to start with Aries. Okay. Okay. See that? That is the Eight of Wands inverted. Okay. Aries. For the next week or so, do not try and plan your life like from now until forever. Don't start thinking about making massive long-term changes. Don't think about where you want to be in the next 10 years. Concentrate on day-by-day things. What this card is telling me is that you are liable to feel overwhelmed if you try and look too far ahead. And this is a card that is looking at change in your life, long-term changes. With it coming up inverted, now is not the time to try and completely change your life around. Look at the little changes you need to make day by day. Concentrate on that. Look at what you need to do that day, that hour, that task. Take things one at a time and do not try and change everything all in one go, is very much the message I'm getting for Aries. Okay. I'm going to have a little look for Taurus. Another inverted card. Okay. It's the King of Cups, inverted. Don't overthink things, okay? I get the feeling that Taurus, you're going to be a little bit emotional over the next week. And it's kind of you look for meaning in everything. Like as if, this has happened, it hasn't gone to plan. Why has that happened? There must be a lesson in this. Sometimes things just don't work out. Not everything is a life lesson. Sometimes things just don't work out. You just have to kind of take it on the nose, let it roll by, go on to the next thing. Okay? Don't look for deep meaning where there is none. If things aren't working out, if you feel a little bit down this week, that's okay. Be a little bit down. Do something to cheer yourself up, but don't desperately seek for a reason why or desperately seek for a lesson in it, because likelihood is there often isn't. It's just things happen and you just need to chill. Let them go. We're not going to go into a Disney song, don't worry. Okay, Gemini. What do we have in store for Gemini? Oh, okay. Another Wands card. It's time of year, I told you. Milk, change, growth. Three of Wands, the right way up. Okay. Kind of opposite to Aries, Gemini guys. Things are changing, but they're not changing overnight. This isn't a little change. This is you are setting yourself long-term goals that will change your life in a big way, but it's not going to happen overnight. What this card is telling me is that you see that first little glimmer of success is coming up for you soon. So this week, what you're looking to do is enjoy the small victories that are going to lead up to something bigger. And you're going to have one of those small victories this week, from what I can see here. Like I say, it's not going to be the end goal. It's not going to be this massive all-encompassing change that happens overnight. But the things that you're working towards are starting to pay off. You're starting to see those little rewards. And this is going to be one of those weeks where you actually feel as if you're taking a step forwards. And you can kind of start to see the results from them. Okay, Cancer. Cancer. Okay. Six of Coins inverted. Do not make any big financial decisions this week. Okay? Or do not make any big changes to financial things this week. Okay? There's kind of this isn't sort of looking at new financial ventures with it being a 6 card. What this is saying is you've kind of got to a point, and this could be anything that affects your finances, property, career. You've kind of reached that midway point, it could be investments and finances, But you've reached that midway point, you go, well, yeah, this has been going quite well, but might try and do something a bit different to make it go a bit better. Just give it a week. Don't do it straight away. Give it a week to think on it and see where you are this time next week is all I'm going to say on that one. Okay. Leos. This is my star sign. Leos get a raw deal because I always say I can never read for myself. And this is for Leos. So, Ace of Cups inverted. No! I'm kidding, it's not really a disaster. It's just Ace of Cups inverted. Okay. Stop trying to tell yourself you're okay. Okay? Okay. Yeah. You kind of want to pretend everything is fine when you're not and you're upset. You don't have to be this kind of emotional hero that just kind of takes things on the chin and goes, you know what, it's fine. Nothing bothers me. I'm fine. I can work my way through this. Occasionally you just need to be like a bit miserable, to be honest, and it happens to the best of it. And occasionally you just need to sit down with some chocolate and some ice cream and watch The Princess Diaries and cry. Or do something else more productive. But yeah, basically, don't try and hurry your emotions. Don't try and get over things too quickly. You will feel better when you feel better. Emotions are clever like that. They send little signals to your brain going, you know what, I don't feel so bad now. It doesn't work the other way. Your brain can't send the signals the other way going, you definitely feel better, honestly. You're just making this up. It's fine. Don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself a little bit of time, Leos. Okay. Virgos. Oh, well done, Virgos. You're having a good week. Okay. Three of Cups. This is representing step forward in a family or personal situation. When I say family, I can be talking about the family that we create for ourselves, so our close friends as well. But basically, this is a feeling of increased closeness to a group of people, a feeling of increased trust, that you are moving into a more comfortable period with those who you are close to. So yeah, Virgos are actually having quite a good time of it this week. Good time for socialising for Virgos, so that's a good one for you guys. Okay. Libra. Libra. Oh! Libra. Start thinking about long-term goals, practical goals, career goals, hobbies, anything that you do practically. If you've wanted to learn a new art or a new language, if you've wanted to invest in something or start a new business, or could literally be straightforward as your work. Start thinking about the long-term plans. Now's the time where you're not going to achieve something overnight. You're not going to suddenly walk in and get a massive promotion, but it is the time when opportunities are starting to present themselves where you could go on a slightly different path, where you could push things forward in order to put you in a better position in the long-term future and in order to be more successful in the long-term future. So really the next week is a time to look for opportunities that could lead you to somewhere good in the future. Okay? Libras. Scorpios. My mum was a Scorpio and I'm a Leo. Yeah, that was a fun house to grow up in. My brother kind of survived. It's fine. Scorpios. Oh. Weird. I hate it when cards come up in like tangent order. It's bizarre, but it happens. Okay. Seven of Coins. This is your good luck time. Yeah, basically, this is kind of a good luck. 7 is like, it's a cliche, the lucky number 7, but it is actually a thing within tarot and within numerology. 7 of Coins, this is good luck. It is basically look for lucky coincidences that you can take advantage of over the next week in anything to do with money, property, fiscal things, okay? Don't condone gambling, but if someone offers you some raffle tickets, might not be a bad week to buy them. That's all I'm going to say on that for Scorpios, okay? Sagittarius. Okay, let's have a look. Five of Cups. Things are going to start to feel a little bit more settled. That's the best way to put that this week. Calm. Any little sort of upsets within the family, within a relationship, within friends, co-workers, within any sort of personal relationship that you have with someone, within a home, within a group, things just feel a little bit more on an even keel. It feels like you're starting to, any little disagreements or grumbles seem to just smooth out a little bit over the next week. So you have a nice calming time ahead of you, certainly in that respect, Sagittarius. Capricorn. Page of Cups inverted. Okay. You are going to get some form of message. Messages is the theme for you from sort of people. Personal relationships again. We're back in Cups. Look out for messages and people not communicating well. Okay. People want to talk to you a lot this week, but they're not really being very clear on what they're saying, is the point I'm getting at. So it could be a week of miscommunication, of you know, there might be some slight disagreements. What I would say is, before getting frustrated with anyone, just make sure you have the whole story, because communication is a little bit off. Okay, so you might want to watch out for that one, Capricorn. Okay, Aquarius. Okay. Two of Swords inverted. There is going to be the temptation this week to try and fix things, to try and make everything better. And I say fix things rather than build things or create things, because we've got the two coming up. And the two is about balance and staying on an even keel, partnership, balance, balancing the scales. The fact that the two inverted is saying, you know, this isn't the week to try and fix things. It's not. Sometimes things fix themselves. Sometimes it will be more effort than it is worth in the end. This is one of those weeks. Let people sort themselves out. Let situations resolve a little more by themselves before you go steaming in and try and fix it. Just chill your boots. Alright? So don't go barging in on that one, Aquarius. And lastly, Pisces. Pisces. Ooh. The Devil. Everyone else freaks out when I pull this card. I don't know why. It's like pulling the Death card. It's not actually a bad card. Okay. Pisces. What's basically going to happen here is this week is going to be really dependent on attitude for you, because things are going to not necessarily go to plan. Now either you can look at that and sulk about it and get yourself in a right fettle, or you can look at it and go, actually, I can turn this to my advantage. It's all about attitude. Pick the positives and you will end up with something better than where you were originally. But it is all about attitude. Okay, Pisces, so try and stay positive, generally. Okay? And that's what it's all about for you. So those are our astrological guidance points for the next week. We will be back next Tuesday to give you some more. Or maybe Monday. We haven't really decided on this point yet. The show launched on a Tuesday this week, but we may be back on Monday next week. We shall see what happens. Yeah, that's where we are. As I say, you can do kind of general draws for anyone. It's like with readings, people, you know, often worry when they come in for a reading, you know, how long it's going to take. You know, will I be in there for hours? Is it going to be scary? You know, am I going to be told bad news? And a reading can be anything from 3 cards to, you can do it with 1 card. I normally do minimum 3, but from 3 cards way up to, you know, a 21-27 card spread. It can be anything from 5 minutes to an hour. As far as getting bad news goes, well, for me, if I see something negative come up in the cards, I always tell the clients. Purely because readings aren't absolute. There is no point getting a reading if I'm going to tell you, this is what's going to happen and there is nothing you can do to change it. The point of getting a reading is, this situation is going to arise. Let's have a look at the different ways you could handle it. So, it's not a case of I'm telling the client something bad is going to happen to them. What I am telling the client is that something bad may happen, but now we have it pre-warned, so we can look at the best way to deal with it. So yeah, you should never, if you have a good reader, be told that something bad is going to happen and there is nothing you can do, because that just doesn't work. You know, the other one I get is, will people tell me when I'm going to die? No! Why would I look that up? In fact, most readers, especially those based within the European Union, because of legislation, and believe me, there is legislation in place to make sure that we're as regulated as any other industry, to be honest, or form of media. You will not get told about health advice or issues. If you have a concern about your health, go to a doctor, not a tarot reader. Okay? You will not be given advice about financial issues. Quite often that I will see news about people's career, or that they might be financially better off or going through a little bit of difficulty, and I will quite happily tell them about that. But if someone comes and asks me, I have £1,000, I can invest it in this company or this company, which shall I do? I will not give you specific financial advice. It is not allowed. It is against the law. It is against the consumer protection regulations. Same goes for legal advice as well. So yeah, if you do see that, you know, just be wary. And again, this is where I have suggested psychics on the site for when I'm not around. If you can't get a reading with me, you can use one of the other psychics who all adhere to some sort of good code of conduct, who will make sure you get the reading that you deserve and that you should get, and that is a responsible reading, rather than just a showpiece. You know, you will see disclaimers on websites that say tarot readings are all for entertainment purposes only. This again is due to the legislation that is in place. Obviously, you know, you are all fairly clever people, obviously, because you're listening to me. And you can tell a lot by people's feedback on what we were saying earlier. So do your research, or just get a reading from me, because I have it all on here. You can see all of my ratings and feedback. Run me through Google, check. I say the same about every other psychic. Do your homework, or get a personal recommendation. But of course, you can, of course, get a reading for free to see how you feel about reading, ask any questions, and you can do that by, as I said, contacting us through the site or through our social media, and we will give you a reading on next week's live show. So I hope you've enjoyed our first little show. It's been a bit strange being back. I used to have a really cool studio with curtains and everything, but we've moved house. But we will get one back. It will be awesome, and we will get some people in on the show. And hopefully, the longer we go on, the more we can do. And I look forward to speaking to some of you in private, to do private tarot readings as well. So say you can come to the site any time of day or night, not just when we're broadcasting live. It's www.hedge-witcherytarot.com, and you can, as I say, contact me or get a reading from me there and then, or you can contact one of our other psychics or tarot readers who we have linked to the site as well. Thank you for putting up with me for our first live show. It's been good fun being back live on air. And I look forward to seeing you next week, where we might actually have some live calls coming into the studio as well. Okay, thank you. Bye.